So lonely. So lonely. If you play Aqua, he will come.
Hero praise.
Hey, I'm on my way right now. I already got food and everything.
Okay.
So, I am running just a little bit late.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Alright, we got him on the cast.
He was on. Everyone knows it. Did it kick me off my Skype call for that?
Richard?
I'm back.
You missed it.
What happened?
Just freestyled there for a second.
Oh, thank God. Hello, and welcome to Learn to Wargame, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or PG Mutilus on the forums.
This is Max. I don't do anything on the forums, and I play things. Thank you, and good night. You're beautiful.
Did you just end your introduction? Thank you.
He did it. Dropped. He just mic dropped his intro.
Walk. This is Spence. I L2 Wargame podcast. I'm just Spence on the forum. Stop giving me that look. I am not Age of Egos on DACA. Shut up.
This is Jeremey.
So smooth. Just perfectly smooth.
You're giving me that look. Hey, that's Jeremy.
Yeah. I'm Jeremy. I go by Lord Fool.
My name is Parker Guidry, and I go by Tweak, or I am going to in a second, because I'm going to find out if that's actually my name on this forum. But
You're currently searching for yourself on a forum to see what
I
your
am, because I don't know. I can't remember. I
Continue.
know myself Tweak, but I don't know.
Credentials. Listen to the podcast.
Sounding like the
Shit.
fourth podcasts have been on.
I don't know who I am. Listen to me.
And this is Richard, and I am the Rambler.
Were you born a rambling man?
No, it's something you have to work hard for. And I've been doing my ramble squats and my ramble push-ups, so hopefully tonight...
Would you say you've been
guys
doing the best you can?
Yeah.
Disclaimer, L2 Wargame does not support or own any part of Rambling Man.
Okay. All right, so for news this week, we have some exciting spoilers / no quarter stuff from for about Haley3 and Deny3. They're about to come out. To summarize, Haley3 is a Warcaster unit. Haley3 has 8 focus, 15 hit points, 3 Warjack points, and we believe is a 16-14 for base stats. Her spell list is Temporal Flux, Tactile Supremacy, Domination, and she can replicate any of the other 2 Haley spells, and she can put 2 echoes of herself into play. The first of which is Past Haley, which has 4 focus, can allocate to her Warjacks, and has the spell Force Hammer. She also has the ability Raw Talent. She rolls an additional die of damage on spells. Then there's Future Haley, which has the spells Revive and Phase Bolt, also 4 focus. It's 2 focus to put either of them into play, and 2 focus to keep them in play during your normal upkeeping of spells. Thoughts on Haley? Oh, and her feat is increase the focus of all 3 of the Haleys by 2, and they immediately gain those 2 focus points.
Did you say Past Haley had what? Did you say all Past Haley spells? I can't remember.
It's just Force Hammer is what we know for sure so far, but
That's
her
right.
runes were
Chain Blast.
decoded as Chain Blast, yeah.
I thought Past Haley also had something like Raw Power or something like that.
Yeah, Raw Talent. You
Okay.
roll an additional die on magic damage rolls.
Right, you did say that.
I
Because
said
Chain
that.
Blasts with Raw Talent is take good.
Yeah, if she actually has Chain Blast. I can only imagine she does, but who knows?
They've never once done that.
There's
Yeah,
gonna be-
the runes have always been correct as far as I know. Although people have been bad at decoding runes, so
Yeah.
there's been many that have been like done wrong, and then they came out and they're like, "Well, I thought it was this," and they did it again. They're like, "Yeah, this guy was an idiot."
Yeah. I'll start. I think Haley3, what I like most about her is that I was really kind of mad when I saw that she was a Warcaster unit, or thought she was a Warcaster unit, and kind of said that she was, more or less. And the reason why I didn't like it is because I didn't want another Warcaster unit. I thought there was a lot of space in this game, like design space, to make it more interesting, and this whole traveling through time thing sounded cool. The fact that it was just like, oh yeah, and I brought my 2 friends, me and me, was kind of silly. Mm-hmm. Then, as soon as I heard about the rule, the 2 focus, I love the idea of kind of literally splitting her in half to make her a third extra, if that makes sense, or more. I like that she goes down 2 of 4 in order to have 2 other 4s. I like the mechanic. I think it's fluffy, and I think it's interesting, and I think it actually gives the game something else to do rather than just another Warcaster unit.
Right.
I'm less threatened by this than the current incarnations of Haley. I really am. I
think it doesn't look as good on paper as the other 2 do, but I think it's going to be pretty strong.
Well, I think the fact is it's going to separate the players who can passively play the casters. Like, you can set down a Haley right now and, like, kind of just, I guess, let the game kind of roll out, because they're such a powerhouse of what they can do in such a large area. And it's such a big footprint of how they affect the game that does a lot. Whereas this is not really as, I don't want to say it's not subtle. You have to do things. You have to,
you have
a lot of tools. You have a lot of directions to go, and you have a lot to do with it. I'm curious as to how the Haley's put in play being attacked are going to matter. Are they going to behave like they have their own separate health, or are they going to be kind of like there's a specific health pool for the 3 of them?
They could do like the Wormwood thing where they share hit points.
I don't think they'll do that.
I thought they had their own health pool.
If they have their own health pool, that would make the most. If they share a health pool, that's so detrimental, I think, because it's like
it would be.
I like the idea of making them. I like the idea of them having health, and you can make them disappear like apparitions, like you can say.
I would like that. I think this is going to be a direction that I'm going to have more fun playing against this, I think, than just the. I don't like playing against Haley. I hate Signar generally just because of Haley.
Yeah.
I mean, not Haley, Parker. The same thing. I love you.
I'm Parker.
But no, it's going to be a very active caster that's doing a lot, but they're actually doing it instead of just a big aura of things happening. Like even Feora 2. When I play Feora 2, it's like she generally just sits there and has an effect because she's strong, as opposed to her doing a lot every turn.
I would argue, like, hands down, that Haley 1 is definitely that I'm going to sit here and cast 1 spell and watch you try to do things. But Haley 2 is a Rubik's Cube inside of a maze, inside of a Sudoku puzzle. She is so complex. You have to play her so hard. I am exhausted every time I play Haley 2 in a tournament setting. She is very active, at least cognitively, if not actually on the game. But
the amount of options available to her are immense.
Right. And there's like, if you can do anything, what do you do? Like, it's the perennial puzzle,
So the thing that hopped out to me initially, Temporal Flux appears to be a +2 defense buff. We don't know if it affects everything or not. It might be an upkeep, it might not be, but putting Temporal Flux on something like let's say you're playing against Legion, you got Boom Howlers, you can do a Rage Howl and effectively get Boom Howlers to defense 16 and then have Revive on your spell list with potentially, if you only have Future Haley in play, she's a 6. Future Haley is a 4, that's 10. And then you can feat and go to 14. She can effectively have 14 focus to spend on revives.
And then pull off of a squire for 15.
And go to 15, cast 5 revives.
I wonder if they all count as warcasters individually, or if...
I think she will count as a warcaster, and the other 2s will be grunts in a unit.
Because what I'm also considering is how big her control area actually is. Her spells, I can't remember off the top of my head. Does she have any control area spells or anything like that?
From what I can see here, no.
Well, she has Thorn, so I suppose she can affect things with her spells really far away anyway.
But we also, I don't think, know everything about the casters.
No, not at all yet. But the thought is, on the feat, increase the focus by 2, also increases the control area by 4. And that's for each one of them, so it's a huge control area.
But from what I can see here, none of them have anything but direct range spells, which is probably what they specifically went for.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Revive is within control.
That's a lot. I mean,
but that could depend on how they're going to dominate.
I do think that the actual Haley3 is going to be the only actual
Right.
warcaster.
I
The other
think
two
it's
are
gonna
like
work.
journeymans, basically.
It's going to work like Egregore, probably.
Probably.
Are there any big specific things that are beneficial of your caster standing there on their own but counting as a unit, despite the other models not being out? Because, I mean, just the terminology of your Haley herself is going to be a unit, even if the other two aren't
Does that mean
out.
if you hit her with something that denies orders, that she can't do anything even when she's by herself?
Yeah, she is a type unit.
She's typed unit, so therefore you hit her with
Fear of God
rebuke or fear of God, she can't run her charge or issue the order to do so.
That's kind of interesting. I mean, there are going to be things out there. You could
Just like when you
her.
kill both the Butcher's dogs, he's still a unit.
Yeah.
There's just one guy.
Well, that's kind of
That's actually that's the thing is whenever you play Butcher or Butcher with the dogs or Makeda with her stone dudes and all that stuff, you're kind of saying here are two dudes that are not as strong as a warcaster that you can cast your awesome debuff spells on.
Yeah.
Like you put yourself out there for that when you have that. Now, I'm guessing these two Haleys will probably also share her nice defensive stats, like 16, 14, or something like that.
Yeah, but they might have like 5 or 10 hit points instead
I'm
of
guessing
15.
5, 10 seems excessive.
5 seems probably closer to correct when you can just spend 2 folks put them back.
Right. I think the health is less important to this scenario as
It is less
to-
important, but
to get the defense up, because
they
if
have
you
to
can
be
put the defensive
removable.
and
Yeah,
if
I
you
heard
put the
people
defensive buff on
compare
her
to
spell,
Jake's. A lot of.
I think you can see her. And if she put the defensive buff on herself, then everybody in her.
Right, everyone in a unit be +2 defense.
Yeah.
And since she's a unit, you can dirge and miss her.
Unless it's model.
you could tough her, you could dirge and miss her.
It might be modeled, but
It could be. I doubt it
does anybody
because
else-
it's a Haley spell.
Does anybody else notice that she's the only one with a weapon? Do the other two not have weapons?
I think that's up in the air. We don't
yeah,
know.
we don't really get very many details on their stats. It's just hers.
Yeah.
But model
It just-
wise,
it-
no.
Yeah, it's interesting that that neither of them have weapons on there.
I haven't read the article, but somebody that did told me that they thought it, like Phase Bolt on Future Haley seemed more like an ability because she used it after she casted a revive, and I don't believe it was feat turn, so
So she would, unless it's
she would only have, right, unless it only costs 1, or she maybe has an ability that reduces cost, which that would be
Maybe.
weird as hell. Because in revive she could do 2.
Yeah.
This seems a little good.
It'd be like
a little
offensive
good.
spells.
Uh,
Phase Bolt could just be a new 1-cost nuke that's like POW 10.
Has there been any discussion as what reiteration does? I think whatever.
No, there's reiteration is that she can cast any spells that the other 2 Haleys have cast this turn.
That could be.
So it's replicate from Haley 2, but it's specifically on any spells the other 2 Haleys cast. So if future Haley casts Revive, Haley 3 can cast Revive. If past Haley casts Force Hammer, Haley 3 can cast Force Hammer.
but I don't know.
That's a lot.
It's going to really be interesting because they don't get to activate the turn they're put in play, correct?
Right, they can activate
So-
to play.
She's really going to have to protect them, though, because she needs them out so the next turn she can actually do work with them. And if you're able to kill them, that could be problematic for her.
But she also might be able to spawn these things within control and put them in really crazy spots. Or they'd probably have to be in formation, so...
Does anybody feel like this? Okay, now, considering what models exist in that faction and how Signar is currently played, is this somebody who we feel like is going to hit the game and change things? I mean, just from what little we know.
From what little we know, I would say no, not at least not initially. I think people are gonna have to figure out how best to play her and what tricky ways you can maybe break revive or not specifically break, I guess, but abuse revive in the faction. Which, like Tempest Blazers, just off the top of the head, thinking the faction seems like maybe one of the best things to revive, but I don't know that Stormlances might also be good, but the fact that they're melee, I don't know. And she doesn't also have anything to support them like Deadeye, things like that, that would be really good.
I did want to point out, if Temporal Flux is not an upkeep, that means you could take Stormlances, Arcane Shield them, and Temporal Flux them, and Dirge of Mist them, and you'd have Defense 15, Armor 20, Cavalry that's revivable.
Didn't I hear in Europe Stormlances are like a thing?
Well, they're good. They kill
They're
lots
good.
of stuff. They just die.
Okay, so now you can...
And
now-
without Fury, they actually don't do a lot of work in
Okay.
melee against heavy targets.
Right.
Parker, you're probably the most prominent Signar player I see typically. So, what do you think about that question? Do you feel like, is this, aside from just interest level that you want to come in and play with, an interest level you just want to come in and try, do you actually think that this is going to be somebody who's going to hit the game and do something? Do you feel like this is something that's going to splash the pot?
I think one of the hardest things about this is the only other casters we know of that use Revive that are out of Menoth is who else? Is Menoth the only other faction that has Revive?
Mordekar.
There's the only Warmachine faction, yes.
Right.
Scorn has it.
And then the only other person is.
No, there's plenty of Hordes casters that have it, but I mean,
really?
Yeah, Mockery of Life is the closest other thing outside of Menoth in Warmachine. Hordes, there's Malok.
That's right, Malok has
Scorn one. I think there's one more.
Anyway, I feel like Revive is a really it's a really strong thing in the game because it's one of those effects that says my army is not where you think it is. Like that's what it says.
Right.
It doesn't say that on the card. It says bring a guy back to life, and most people go, "Wow, what great point economy!" But really, what it does in the game is it says my army, the way you think you just made it with your attacks, is actually not what it is. It's actually this thing I'm about to show you, and that is a super strong game effect. Anybody who says that kind of thing, like that's one of the reasons why Ron is, in my opinion, a super strong caster. Regardless of anything that you run with him, because Ron says all the things that looks like right now is actually not what it looks like right now, because I will move everything right now. Okay. So
his board manipulation is off the charts.
Okay. Right. So like she can do something like that too. So that's just a really strong effect all the time, even if regardless of who you run it with. I love her with Blazers. I love it with Stormlances. Okay. Just because you get that high the high bit, but like running her with things that have honestly, if there's one Stormblade in a list, Stormblades, man, they just hit like trucks, and just having 3 Stormblades show up out of nowhere with their normally horrible defense stats and really subpar speed, all of a sudden making them appear out of nowhere and charge something. It murders things really fast. So you can. I was going to say the thing that I like about her is that generally in Signar they have really accurate and a few really heavy-hitting pieces that have really poor defensive stats generally, and so they make up for that with things like Arcane Shield and Rupert and that kind of stuff that you kind of have to do. What's kind of interesting with her that I think will actually open up when I'm building things with her is I'm going to go, well, I'm playing Haley3, which means maybe I don't have to sink 5+ points into support, keeping these things alive. Because if I lose 3 a turn, I can expect to get back 3 a turn. As opposed to now, where anybody who plays Stormblades will tell you that if you're not spending an extra 4 points doing stuff to help them, they're just going to die like water. So.
Okay, so then how about this? The idea of Signar being an attrition faction is not something I've really heard about much of. I've heard it a couple times on Facebook now since this has been released, and a couple times in the forums where somebody's mentioned the idea of Signar attrition becoming something that's going to be fairly difficult, just because one thing I've noticed playing against them is because they can have such a strong ranged plinking game, because they can actually have a good, I don't want to say time walk, but a good turn of, doing a lot to your army before you get to them. Now they can do a lot to your army before you get to them, and on top of that, once you get to them, now you're digging into something that can revive consistently. Is this going to be something where you could potentially see an attrition thing popping in pretty heavily? Or am I confused?
I actually think I disagree with both of you.
Okay, go.
The reason I disagree with you is because she doesn't buff any of their actual damage output. She is solely revive plus other buffs and then personal work they do. She's not a Deadeye, a TK, a D-Cell caster. She's not helping the Plink game. The Plink game's there, but she's not enhancing it. So your caster can get you over the hump of beating their Plink game, and now it's whatever you do above average versus what she's doing, which is revive and, temporal flux and all that. And then as far as what Parker was saying about not having to necessarily take your support that makes your guys get there, I think it's going to be the exact opposite, and people will invest more points in the support to help it get there and just play like a tanky Signar build, where you can take like Storm Lances that are like defense 15, armor 20 with like possible 4 damage rolls a turn against infantry, and then also with revive and just leave the one guy back. I think you'll see like the Death Star Storm unit, or excuse me, the Storm Lance unit coming into play where it really wasn't there in the meta before.
Okay, so that's just several different ideas of it popping up initially. And obviously, I mean, as more things get revealed as to what she actually does, that could potentially change this. But I mean, the idea of Enemy Caster has both Force Bolt and Revive and a defense buff. Those are all kind of hot. I mean, I like every bit of that.
Generally, it's like it's kind of the way you go about the game. You can use your Warcaster to push everything to 11, or you can use your Warcaster to make up the things you're not doing. Because sometimes I've noticed that some Warcasters have this really credible, like obvious presence in doing some things, and you need your army to do the other thing, like Kane and Old Witch. Like they kind of say on their cards, you'll kill every infantry model, more or less. And so because it says that, you're really strong at doing that, why would you put in more things that kill infantry? Why would you put magical sprays with Old Witch? Like, why would you do it necessarily? You can, but you're already killing every infantry in the game, right? So maybe you should be putting everything like Great Bears and Behemoth and these really hard hitting guys.
All the crunchy stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Right. So you can do that, or you can do the other thing is pushing it to 11, where you run something like Bane Thralls with P Lich. Like, it's super overkill. Having that much extra damage is really dumb. But it means that one Bane Thrall might walk up to a heavy and just take out half its boxes. So, like, you're choosing which one to do. I think when I was looking at this Haley, I thought, okay, finally, she can take some of the weight off of my army building, and basically, if she says on her card, your guys live a little bit longer, your units live a little bit longer, then I don't have to spend points on that. Or you can do the opposite, where you go, I'm going to make my guys never die, ever, by really investing in that.
It's the do I enhance my strengths or cover my weaknesses question.
Right.
All right, well, I think we've covered Haley3 about as much as we can without knowing her actual rules. So, moving on to Deny3, the Soul Weaver. She is a Focus 7 Battle Engine caster with Flight. She has 4 Warjack points, a defense and armor of 15 and 16. She has the ability Soul Weaver. This model can take souls from other friendly models. We believe it's just one model at a time, and you take all souls from it. Soul Mastery can use souls to trigger soul-based effects. First one is Arcane Mastery. Costs 1 soul. You can cast a cost 3 or less spell. Vengeful Spirits costs 1 soul. Allocate up to 3 focus to a Warjack in your battle group within your command range. Her feat is Hellgate. She gains 7 soul tokens immediately. And her spell list, known so far, is Scourge, Mortality, Gravewind, and Ghostwalk.
Okay, before
Thoughts?
we go any further on this,
Okay.
She's a Battle Engine caster.
Correct.
The big thing when Xerxes came out that everybody talked about, when Resident came out that everybody talked about, was how do you keep them alive?
Well, the way they fixed Xerxes' question is they just gave him a really good stat line.
Okay.
And that fixed it.
Now, do we see how they're going to do that with her yet?
Well, she's a natural 15-16, which is probably about average for a cavalry caster, probably slightly above average for a battle engine caster.
It's okay.
She does have Grave Pact, which is +2 defense, and Poltergeist. So she is, if you don't have a way to get rid of it, she can't be knocked down or made stationary, and she's defense 17. And then armor 16 if she camps nothing. That's okay.
She'll be camping. So
She's going to camp something, most likely. I can't imagine she won't.
So we're relying on pure stats in order to keep her up, is what I'm looking at, is what we're seeing
Basically,
currently.
kind of what they did with Xerxes.
Yeah, like, obviously, like, a siege gun line will probably be able to kill her, but, I mean, then you just try and camp through it, I guess, but...
Maybe.
I'm curious about
They did
that,
still.
Right.
because that's my biggest
Defense
worry.
17 is hard, even for guns.
Yes, as defense 17 is hard for
And
Eris.
if you're aiming, you're giving her a huge tempo advantage, because she's probably trying to play for scenario.
It seems weird to me. Like, without some obvious thing, I mean, that's what really
Maybe.
bothers me. Some obvious thing that says,
They have
hey,
control, so I don't know that scenario. It's just innately what she's going to do.
So things that we've already figured out that she can do. Max Isn't there the flying jack thing she can do where she
can I don't know, she can load out any jack she wants. She can
All
ghost
the
walk all of them. She can mortality casters. She can I don't know. She has lots of interesting things you can do with warjacks that you don't do with other casters because of her soul ability. The question's going to be is, do lists become prevalent enough that deny souls or don't provide souls? She'll still have her feet turned, so obviously it's not completely nerfed.
So potentially she could cast 12 mortalities in one turn. If
What do you mean,
she gets her, so for feet she gets 7 souls. She could potentially pull off of one of her friendly models and get 3 more, and then she could just cast 2 more.
Yeah.
Or she could cast 10 mortalities and still camp 7 focus.
That's a lot.
That's
It really
37 focus
That's a
worth
lot.
of spells and camping.
But I get mortality being amazing, because it is, and I'm not going to question that, and that's not the point that I'm going to make here. But is it going to be enough to be able to mortality things in comparison to what the faction already does really well? I mean, is it?
But mortality offensively is better than Crippling Grasp. It doesn't have the defensive component of the control it adds, which is amazing. But if you're solely looking at killing things, mortality is technically better than Crippling Grasp.
Because you lose tough.
That's I see that, but
and it's basically she can wither your front line every single turn.
I want her. That's what I want to see. I want to see her. I want to see her hit with an impact that, from what I'm seeing, just simply what she has. If it's just like, okay, just let her just mortality the opponent's army every turn. Like, that to me seems like
But the thing, talk about keeping her alive. She's also one of the only battle engine casters that probably doesn't want to be anywhere near the battle.
Absolutely,
because she has arc nodes.
And that's the thing. I want to see. I want to see like some special rules or something. I feel like I'm missing something big. I'm sorry. The special rule, the soul token thing is amazing, but I want to see what she does in melee. Does she have anything?
Yeah, I want to know what's her weapon do. Does the mount actually do its thing? I mean, the art showing it melting a shock trooper's shield, so I assume it would have some sort of corrosive something or other.
Spray,
but
probably.
We may just be assuming, and we don't know. It may not be there.
I think
it may have been there in playtesting, and it's not anymore. But
I think I think one of her interesting. I liked seeing her like +2 defense in the faction is really strong, and like she just screams, witches. Just run the Styxis. Sorry, not witches. Styxis Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just screams Raiders for that first early game +2 defense, and then once the Raiders get. Oh, is it model? I thought it was.
Yes.
It's not model unit.
It's only good on her or like Death Jack or Nightmare. Pretty much.
Oh, I thought it was unit.
Nope. If it was unit, it'd be retarded.
Oh my god!
I don't know if it'd be retarded. There's already the faction already has Ashen Veil and Occultation like 3 times.
But it's just a flat +2
But Ashen
defense.
Veil is already
Ashen
makes
Veil
the Tixis really, really ridiculous.
I was gonna say, but the faction already has Ashen Veil. Like, yes, it only works on living stuff, but it's still like nobody goes, man, Ashen Veil broken in Grix. That doesn't.
They complain about it.
What?
They don't say it's broken.
I don't know that that's because of the caster it's on.
Okay, Max, give me some numbers and names here, because I don't know the faction well enough to really quote them. But what's the little burrowing thing you guys have?
Helldivers.
Okay, the Helldivers. What's the power and strength on a Helldiver?
13.
What's its mat?
6.
Okay, so it becomes a 15. I'm sorry, it becomes a 7. 15.
Mat 8, POW 15.
Mat 8. I'm sorry, yeah.
And you can fully load it.
And it can't be targeted.
It'll be fully loaded easy. It can't be targeted with anything, and it's getting up there how fast? Fully loaded.
It's not that fast because they're speed 5. They get placed the token, so it's basically 6 inches, and they come up within 3. So that's like about 10 inches a turn.
It's
right,
actually
isn't it?
9. Yeah, it's like charging every turn.
Okay, well, so it's not the fast thing, but it's fairly safe getting up there.
3, so you get the whole base. It's like literally 10 inches.
Like, how is this thing in the game?
It's literally about 10 inches.
Why are you upset about that?
Helldivers are dumb.
And they're only 3 points, so it's not like it takes a big investment to kill things with those.
Do you think that, with mortality being out and everything, obviously the thing's trading up pretty easily with 3 free focus every turn?
But it's not every turn. It's gonna be just like Haley3, in my opinion, where it has to be out. We have to know the full rules, and people need to explore the faction.
We're speculating here. We can say whatever we
It's
want.
complete speculation. You're right. But, you know...
Oh, it's complete speculation. We know a lot of stuff.
It's not complete speculation, but... I mean, I don't know. It just depends. Because, like, the most safest way for her to collect souls is a Wraith Engine, currently in the faction.
Yeah.
And my biggest question is her tier list good, and does it have -2 costs for a Wraith Engine?
I don't think you need -2 costs on a Wraith Engine.
It's pretty bad. I don't need -2, but...
Wait, why do you say Wraith Engine is the safest? Because Deathjack seems to be
It's got the
because
Wraith
it collects within 10 inches.
Oh.
Yeah. You can run it and go in Corporal and collect souls on anything your army kills from that range. And then next turn, you've got your little soul bank ready.
Okay.
And then the turn after that, you feed.
And then there's also big questions I have, like, it doesn't mention anywhere in that battle report if she's cavalry. If she's actually cavalry, that's a big deal. Because then ride-buying it, because they do say that she uses her full movement when she charges and goes 12 inches, which means she's speed 9. If she can ride-buy 4 inches forward and then 5 inches back, that's also a big deal.
So, okay, how about this as a thought? Okay, you mentioned Deathjack and Soul Collection. Deathjack gives itself 2 souls, okay?
No,
gives
2
itself
focus.
2 focus.
It gives itself 2 focus.
I'm wrong.
But the thing is,
Yes.
but you can do something similar to what they just mentioned. You can have Deathjack run up within 2 inches of stuff that's about to die, murder all of it with something else, and then Deathjack gets everything. So you can... The only thing about the Wraith Engine is it caps out at 3, so it's great. I mean, it's still a reliable way to get it, but the Deathjack is going to be getting a lot more if you
He's
can
just
manage it.
only so safe. I mean, yeah, if you're going to use him like that, then yeah, he's probably your Grave Wind target, and you're playing way safe with your Warcaster. And then he's a 15-19. That's pretty ridiculous stat line, but especially when you miss him and you back away.
Yeah. The other problem is if you go in for a melee assassination, like Malakarn gets to Denny 3, and you're like, I missed one. Goodbye. Like, you fail.
Well, unless she rolls a 1 and you got to base. But if you got to max reach or something like that, then you're fucked as soon as you miss. And when things need 10s, misses still happen.
I'm trying to think of a way to compound the soul thing, so I can't think of any jacks that would have souls except for the Deathjack, so...
The Harrower does, Malice
Do
does.
any of them make souls on their own, though? Nothing makes souls.
The only one that makes souls on its own is Malice, and that's just because he starts with one. He doesn't make any more than that.
Pistol Race collects soul tokens for living enemy while they kill.
Soul Hunters do as well, but the problem is it's model, so...
Well, I'm curious if anything is like a soul well, effectively.
No, nothing
The
in the
only thing-
faction
yes.
generates souls every turn.
Okay.
Nothing does
Nothing
that.
does every turn, but Malice has a rule soul well.
That's
why
why
he starts with the soul.
That's why a lot of people complain about a lot of the Crix abilities are generated off of soul or corpse tokens, because they must generate those during the game, and if your opponent doesn't bring living models, you don't get them.
Well, that and it can just be denied by your opponent.
But
It's
the
totally up to your opponent to give it to you.
Starlock Commander has Darkfire, is that right?
Yeah.
And
He also just collects souls.
Also, the Overseer, the Iron Lich Overseers, and the Wither Shadow.
Yeah, Wither Shadow has it.
Yes.
All those models, if they hit an enemy with it, they immediately gain a soul token.
So there's a whole dearth of things you can put in. So like Wither Shadow's walking up, taking their basically hand cannon shots. Every time they kill things, they gain a soul, and they can collect 3 apiece. But they're individual models to target. That's fine, but you want something that's going to get you 2 to 3 every turn, which is the Wraith Engine. Now, it's okay to still have those others in the list, you'd think. And I'm not saying Wraith Engine's right. I'm just saying for maximum soul collection, the Wraith Engine's probably the best and safest. Deathjack can get you more.
I think
lose you 12 points.
I think Harrower is also really strong, because Harrower in general is a really strong 10-point jack.
I think it'd be interesting just to run a gun line with her,
I
because
think
she
it
can
would be
fully
too.
allocate to 7 jacks.
Yep.
Leviathan seem interesting.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to think of the idea of potentially, even you said Malice starts with the soul. Is there any reason to consider taking that soul
No, because
and then using that one soul to turn it into a free spell or
Malice-
free focus on a jack? But
Malice-
it's only the first turn, so it doesn't matter. But potentially it's second turn, or I don't know.
Malice is like a for funsies.
Yeah. Well,
And
I'm trying
everything, everything Malice does requires souls. Like all the things, the reason why you spend the points on him to do his funny thing is it has to have souls on it to do it. So
my thought right now
I
is
think
as
you'd
opposed
rather
to
save
just trying
2
to think of
points
how
and
to
play
do
a
the tricks
Reaper.
they already do. With her, I'm trying to think of things that they don't currently use that much, and maybe trying to use her. I don't.
No, I mean that's what people are going to do with her. I mean,
I do
but we
see-
have to see everything she does to fully be aware of what she can do.
I think Harrower is super strong with her for that same reason that it has a nice gun.
The only downside to Harrower is his relatively short range. So he's only collecting things that he kills in his melee, and he's speed 5, so he threats 10 inches with reach. Now he threshers it, which is great, but that's still 10 inches.
I still agree Battle Engine's great, but when I'm looking at a heavy with him, if it's not DJ, I think it's Harrower. I just don't see... Maybe, like you said, you could do a funny Leviathan thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think
guess
the Leviathan thing would be a total gimmick, don't get me wrong.
Which has
Yeah.
Red Fire 3?
Leviathan.
you could also do... Actually, Pistol Wraiths are a really strong option because
They
of
are.
her spell list. Having Mortality with Pistol Wraiths is super, super good.
And I agree with that. My only downside to pistol wraiths is pistol wraiths are so much more threatening when they carry their own souls.
Yeah, but she
Right,
doesn't
but
have to take that.
I think the list you're going to build is going to load up on models that have the option to get souls.
I agree with that.
And then you'll just take the best option that turn and pull off
I
of
agree
that
with
one.
that. And I think that might be where the Wraith Engine's actually not played, because you're just going to take, I'm going to take 2 pistol wraiths and the Wither Shadow Combine, and
And a
that's
Harrower.
or in like a Harrower or something, and that's my soul generation, and whatever got me the most or whatever, because,
Is going to do the least work
is
this turn.
or is going to do the least work is what I'm going to pull off of. Because I would rather get more work pieces than, I mean, and not to say that the Wraith Engine can't do work, because the Wraith Engine is semi-interesting in the fact that he collects in such a big area, he goes in, kills things, collects full, you take them, then you kill more things in his command, and he's still full next turn. So, I don't know. It's all going to be, it needs to be played.
I feel like Baraka made the Mountain King much better. I feel like Deny3 makes the Wraith Engine like a top tier battle engine. Potentially. Well, we still need to see it on the table. but
Don't forget about ectoplasm, guys.
That's true.
You've probably never seen it place clouds, but it
probably
can.
true.
I think one of the reasons why what she does is she gives the Wraith Engine a thing that it does when it's incorporeal, because right now it does nothing except maybe gather 3 souls. So
It charges through some things.
right, I feel like right now the battle, like the thing is, this whole army actually plays with a really interesting rhythm. Like when you see, like when you're starting to build around here, you got your idea that probably turn 2, maybe 3, she's getting 7 anyway. So does she need 3 more? Well, then maybe you're just on that feat turn, you're letting all your stuff that has souls to use them all. And then, like casting 10 mortality sounds fun, but why? Why would you need to do that?
No, yeah, I was just giving an example of like the amount of
No.
spells
Right.
she can put.
Honestly, she's probably going to put out 2 mortalities, and then, I mean,
Right.
beyond that, why?
Yeah, exactly. So like, I feel like because she has kind of this interesting rhythm, you can plan on, on the feat turn, you can plan on all the things it has souls to use them, and then every other turn, you're making better use of that. I've also been in situations where, your thing gets loaded up on souls, and then what does it do with them? That happens sometimes because it did such a good job of getting all of its souls. Then now all the things are dead. So how could you use those? Well, she can now. Like she can recycle that up a little bit.
I also think some people might underrate mortality because it's only on one caster right now, and that caster has no way to arc spells. Putting
Right.
mortality wherever you want it is so strong, because like one of the top tier jam units in the game, Boom Howlers, are really annoying to deal with. Even if they Rage Howl and you're affected by Rage Howl, they're 14, 16 with tough, or even say they have super tough. Putting mortality on them reduces them to either 10 14s or 12 14s with no tough. That just makes it to where you just murder them trivially. Like, the ability to remove high quality things in that manner is amazing.
Mortality takes away the inches, Like, that's the way that most of, like, the best jam units in the game get so good, is they have these little +2 inches. They're not, like, jumping up +5, +4, +3 defensive stats. They're jumping up in these little bitty increments that stack on top of each other. And her ability to take one of those down is usually the difference that you need. Like, it's enough.
I don't know. It doesn't completely remove the hag, but, maybe it saves you 6 points in the list, right?
Right. That's another thing it does. It does, yeah. The hag is not...
The hag is not as good as she is. She's not useless, because the hag creates retardedly awesome order of activation problems for hordes, things like that need to heal aspects and stuff like that. And she's there and says, well, you can't until you kill me, and I'm stealth.
Right. I think that you could play a hag for redundancy, but that's really what it is at that point. It's redundancy.
Yes. The biggest thing is the removal of tough. But I don't know. I right now I kind of consider seeing some weird battle group thing with her, and probably like a Mechanothrall swarm. But we'll see.
Okay. Does anybody actually see this hitting and affecting anything with what we know so far?
It's going to completely depend on how hard or easy she is to kill, I think, because that's how all Battle Engine casters are.
I've read about the Afflictor being a bit pillow-fisted. Do you think Mortality's going to fix that? So obviously...
It doesn't fix it because it only makes him POW 18. It makes him better.
Okay.
And she does need a shield guard, because
That's what I was thinking.
you can't have Eris shoot off her focus and her buff.
Yeah,
You can't even let it be an option.
To be fair, though, unless she's aiming, it's unlikely. But you don't want the unlikely chance of losing.
Yeah, but I don't trust the game. I don't trust the game to an 8.
Yeah, you rolled an 8. Good game, sir.
I like one of the interesting things about her that I think is cool is that almost every turn she can expect to camp somewhere between 4 to 5, somewhere in like 4, 5, 6. Like, that's super cool. I like that a lot.
Which will put her to if she's upkeeping Gravewind herself, to a 17-21. Immune to knockdown? That's pretty
I really
solid.
think she's going to have a spot for the old Admonia to upkeep her spell for free.
That's fair. Oh, and because the Darkfires, too. Yeah, she's probably definitely have the Withered Shadow.
That's a lot.
The only negative to having the Wraith Engine, I feel, is going to be that you have 2 huge bases in one list, which it might be a little
Also the
challenging.
fact that it's a Wraith Engine. But, I mean...
Wraith Engine's good.
Mat 9, Power 17, Reach, Soul Collector. I like it.
It's actually Power 19.
It's Dark Shroud.
Holy shit.
It does have Dark
It
Shroud.
has Dark Shroud. Which means it also adds the Dark Shroud component to the list. And she has Scourge, so like defense isn't a problem.
She has mortality, so defense isn't a big deal. That's
has
why
Scourge
I
and
think
mortality.
Mechanothrall Swarm is pretty interesting, just because you're making them all Mat 7 and hit harder.
Oh my god, if she could take corpses instead of souls. Like when you have those huge piles
be
of corpses on the Necrosurgeons, you're just like,
That's
I'll just take 3 of those.
That's exactly why that would never be a possibility.
I'm so glad they didn't do that.
Unless you removed from play, you could not deny her just casting whatever she wanted and camping 7.
Yeah. I like that she's also allowed to allocate. I think that's really interesting.
It's very interesting because the allocation out of normal maintenance phase is super strong.
It lets you do all kind of things like, okay, I'm going to play this half of my turn, not knowing if I needed to give that thing focus. Oh, well, that happened, so now free focus.
I accidentally got those 2 models out of the way.
Yeah.
Go kill that important thing.
Yeah. I like the idea of Scavenger a lot.
She seems really interesting because they tried completely different things with the way they built her. She's completely new, with the exception of she's a battle engine, which isn't that new, but the way she uses focus and souls is new, which I just said that about 3 times in a row.
I will say, just something I'll point out that I thought was interesting about her. She's one of the first Crix characters in a while that does nothing for units. In a faction that loves its big units, she really does nothing at all.
What do you mean?
Necessarily for units.
Nothing. She has mortality.
Yeah.
Very good.
She does
fire
things
buff for her
for
faction.
She has things for the units the same that Denegra 1 does she not? With the exception of the feet actually kind of being a pseudo defensive buff.
Right.
For Denegro 1. Otherwise, they're pretty similar. I mean, mortality, with the exception of the control option of Crippling Grasp, is the same as Crippling Grasp.
But in general, Crix, with the exception of Statixis, Crix is pretty slow. Like, they're slow enough that they kind of need Crippling Grasp or Feet or both to set up their charge that they want their unit to get everything done. Like, they take away a turn from your opponent so their units can set up. She doesn't do that at all. So whatever she uses needs to have either a long threat or be able to take a hit or both. And that means some of the beefier stuff, some of the stockier, beefier stuff in the faction, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's not that she can't run units. Of course, the units are always going to be strong in Crix. And I think Statixis are maybe even a good option for her right now, just off the top of my head, because they feel
They
that.
are.
Like,
Well, they
I'm
also
gonna get,
deliver Wave 2.
exactly. Like, I'm going to get there really fast, so here I come.
Yeah, you're going to get to Alpha Strike with these 11 girls,
And Mouse.
or 8 or whatever it is, and then
Right.
I'm going to get the second wave.
Right. So I think like off the top of my head it seems strong, but I don't see Tartarus making your list necessarily just
No.
because like which is nice because then you free him up for your other list. I guess what I'm saying is I like her because she's running. I've noticed that there's the Xyxius 3 was kind of the same way, is that you didn't necessarily need to run or want to run 4 units with him, which just frees up space in terms of like design and army building for 2 list formats and things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's pretty much Deny3 as what we know so far, because I think we even know less about her than we do Haley. And
I think there's less to know about her because she just has very potent effects, as where Haley3 has lots of effects.
And
And there's not 3 models.
something else that's kind of cool, just little fluffy things that people have pointed out that I can't wait to find out the actual truth behind the story, but like, they're talking about Haley has her arm again, and they're talking about how did she get over the poison effect or whatever the hell that bullshit was that wouldn't let her use magic. And Denny, I think Max, you said something about how Deny3's model doesn't have a big scar across her stomach, so what the hell happened there? It's like, I think
Maybe she just got her stitches out.
yeah, maybe she's better now because she's made of dead shit.
Stella got her groove back.
The ideas are like, the time magic and the agreement of revive, all kinds of... It'd be kind of cool if they actually did something with that, as opposed to just saying, meh, things happened.
I
Sorry,
just
did you
assumed-
say you were excited about the fluff?
I am.
Okay.
I assumed that Denny gave Haley a new fake arm that looks better, and so Haley3 cast Revive on Denny. I just assume that's what happened.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't
just like, sisterly
it's
love.
going to be so bad,
See,
the
what
fluff
you-
is, I just don't care.
So,
It's Nemo's arm.
Sure.
What
I
you don't
care.
understand is they've actually traded places.
Stop.
She'll probably
Friday.
count as undead because the mount's undead. That's why. It was really just a ruse. They were just wearing Halloween costumes, and everyone bought.
I think what it is a bog trog is going to infuse his blood with her, and she's going to grow back like a reptile.
That's not how that works.
Haley3 Trollcaster.
Uh huh.
Reviving trolls. Oh my god.
It's a minion caster. Is what it is.
Orders. Okay.
Wouldn't be that
Let's
good.
move on to our next topic.
Adder.
Although, real quick, who's going to be the better caster of the two?
Haley3.
Deny3. I think Denny's going to be better tournament caster.
I really don't know.
I think
Go ahead.
I think Haley more fun to play.
tournament
I don't know about that, honestly. Fun to play. Denegger sounds retardedly fun to play. Tournament caster, I'm actually going to say Haley3 because she's on a small base.
Okay, we've got two Haley3s, one Denny.
Parker?
Oh man, I will actually say, man, I'm actually going to say Denny because, I'm going to say Denny, and the reason why is Haley doesn't fix anything Signard needs for competitive play right now.
Right.
So I don't know how you take her over anything that's already in the faction at the moment.
Okay, strong point.
Richard?
Is asleep.
Whatever. Just,
People are like, oh yeah, Richard's here.
oh yeah, what?
Way to be a rambling man.
He was born that way.
Max is filling that role tonight. No, I hate Haley in any
Me too.
any form, any time.
Sorry, I never knew you
Any-
enjoyed playing against Denny so much.
Well, okay,
Put cyanide in cup.
at least you can still do stuff under
What?
Denny.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Whatever.
I hate playing
All right,
Haley
way
more.
to take my opinion and make it yours.
I agree.
Thank you.
Go
I
ahead,
like
Richard.
Denny3. I like Denny3. I think the ability to add stuff to the table is good. So I don't know. I think she'll be fun to see. I'm looking more forward to that than Haley.
Okay.
Okay.
That's just it.
Now, as a hobby standpoint, I don't like the Nega 3.
Okay, fair
The
enough.
model looks terrible.
Yeah.
Does it?
I think it's okay.
It's not my flavor, so I mean,
I think it looks.
If
cool,
you like
but-
playing Vampire Counts and Warhammer Fantasy, Denny3 is your style.
Yeah.
yes.
All right.
So, okay, that's where we're at with.
Moving
those
on to our
hookers.
next topic. We're going to talk about the new ADR lists that were spoiled. These won't be legal until July, but we're going to just run through them real quick. Spence, why don't you read off the casters faction by faction for us?
All right.
Oh my god.
The first faction we're going to go over is the most important faction in the game, hands down.
Trolls.
We're going to go over.
Signar, Convergence.
Stop it.
He's falling down quite a bit.
Minions.
Retribution.
Oh my god.
Most important faction of the game.
I'm going to go to the bathroom while you talk about this.
Oh God.
And remember, we're just running through them real quick. So.
God. Retribution casters are. No, we'll go over them after we introduce them. Parker, calm down.
Okay.
Calm down. Are you calm?
I'm
Calm-ish.
just go.
He was
Just
squealing
go.
like a pig a second ago.
All right.
Remember, his name is Tweak.
Let it begin.
Okay, so come on, Lorenzo. So on Signar, you have Commander Dallin Sturgis, General Adept Nemo, which is Nemo 2, Lieutenant Alistair Kane, which is Kane 1, and Captain Kara Sloan. Yeah, because K Fresh is a pimp. Then for Menoth, you have Amon Adraza, you have Feora 1, you have Resnick 1, and Vinny D, V-Scream, Vindictus. You gotta love that motherfucker. He's amazing. For Kador, you have Karchev, you have Vlad 3, the best
Yeah.
Vlad, you have Butcher 2, and you have the Old Witch. For Crix, you have Terminus, Venethrax, Sturgis 2, and Lich 1. For Retribution, if you decide to play a sub-faction, you can play as Gareth, Kalissa, Viros 2, or Ossian. Max's bingo wings over there. Yeah, he loves them. Okay. Convergence, you could play as Aurora, Axis, and you can play either Mother or Father, because this faction makes fucking sense, I guess. For Mercenaries, if you decide you don't really want to win, you can play as Magnus, Gordon, Ashlyn, or Drake McBain. Oh, that's Epic Magnus, by the way.
No.
No, it's P Magnus.
That's P.
Is it?
It's the worst Magnus.
Oh, Magnus the Traitor. I'm sorry, I thought it was... So, P. Magnus. All right.
Epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. All right, for Trolls, Calandra, Borka 2, Grim, that's Grim 1, and Madrick 1 as well.
Also known as just play whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
What's your Trolls?
like
Who gives
to
a
play.
fuck?
Play that, trolls.
For Circle, Morvana 1, Kaya... Is that Kaya 1?
Yeah.
Yep.
Kaya 1. Kruger 2?
One.
One.
It says epic if they're epic.
I
Jesus
actually
Christ.
just realized that at Baldur 2. Shut up! I was doing fine until you
I'm
shut up.
having a stroke.
You had
They
a
should have just
stroke.
gone with Baldur 1, so that way they could do with all the ones.
For Scorn, you can play as Fatty. You can play as the bitch in charge of shit number 1. You can play as Xerxes 2 or Morgul 1.
Cripple Man.
He's not crippled.
He's crippled.
Oh, Xerxes. I thought you meant Morgul. I was like,
Oh, no.
He has no legs.
he
Yeah,
has
Xerxes.
legs. They just don't work.
They're prosthetic.
Ah, Scorn prosthetic legs. They'd be like blades in hate. All right, for Circle, not Circle, I'm sorry, Legion. Shut up! You're not helping. You can play as Callus, Thagrosh 2, Lilith 2, or Absalonia 2.
Lilith 3.
Is that Lilith 3?
Yes.
Yep, it's on.
Oh, I can't tell in that picture.
Lilith 2 would be not that special on ADR, maybe.
I actually thought it was 2.
That's same.
Next time Spence leaves a segment, never.
Hush it, lady. For Minions, you can play as Caliban, Yaga Yaga, Carver, or Sturmendrang. All right.
Jaga Jaga.
All right, so there's one clear best ADR possible, and it's
Trolls.
Carver Sturmendrang. I mean, let's just be serious here.
Yeah, it's 3 casters.
I think it's actually LeCont and whatever the fuck else you choose.
Mother, probably.
Yeah,
Unless you're choosing Syntherion, and then you're not playing ADR.
That's true.
I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on there. Like, I just... I can't fathom. Like, is it just because they have so few casters?
P. Madrax.
It is because
they have
so.
5. They literally have 5.
Like, I mean,
They're gonna have 5 of their 6 on there too. I'm just assuming they're getting a work.
That's true.
ADR. It was to me when I saw this ADR, I was like, okay, so they must have thought ADR isn't really being used that much. We need to make this totally fucking broken.
The guy was waiting for the email for approval, and the guy just sent me an email said, "Fuck it, yellow."
Yeah,
and he's like, "Okay, doop doop doop," and just typed in whatever he wanted.
Like that's just I don't fucking understand this shit at all.
I think a couple of them went down in power. To be fair, I think Mercs went down in power. I think Crix maybe took a slight dump in power.
Yeah, they did.
I don't think it's as huge as people try to make it out to be. I mean, actually, I take that back, because Vinithrax is still way worse than Gorshade 1 and other options.
I think Menoth's ADR choices are abominable.
Okay, so let's just go down the list and say better or worse.
Yeah, I think they're better, though, than they were.
I honestly don't know what they were beforehand. I can just look at what they have on the list right now.
What's the first faction?
Signar.
Obviously better.
Way better.
So much better.
P. Kane with ADR is amazing.
Yeah.
And then Epic Nemo has potential.
Yeah.
Like
actually, doesn't he do the
K-Fresh has potential.
No, I think Sturgis
also has potential.
ADR.
Yes,
like
all 4 of them have potential.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but who would you rather have, Sturgis or Kane?
No, Kane is your go-to.
I think you do both. I think.
I don't know. I think they kind of do. I kind of think they do the same thing.
I would do one or the other.
They're pretty similar.
And go Nemo.
I kind of agree with them. I don't know if I'd necessarily say go Nemo. I love that Nemo.
Question real quick. Is it confirmed that the new casters are going to be on the ADR list? I don't know how that works.
Yes. Casters released, which the book is not officially released till in July, are going to be on the ADR list until the ADR list changes.
So realistically, we're thinking of Haley being on this then.
Haley3 is also going to be on that list.
The casters will probably all be on. The casters will probably all be released around in July, probably.
And they've already confirmed that the new Hordes book will be out this year. So at the very end, in fall of this year, the Hordes book.
So there's going to be a nothing next year, would be my guess.
I don't know.
They're ramping hard. They got to steal the game from Warhammer.
It's not hard. You just exist.
Yeah.
But anyways, definitely better. Let's move on to the next faction.
Next faction, Spence.
In Menoth, I don't know what it was beforehand, but I look at this.
Before Menoth was Resnick 2, Sevi 2, Thyra, and Vindictus?
No.
No, wasn't Vindictus? Who was the 4th then?
Couldn't tell you.
Oh, Testament.
Yes.
Yeah.
Testament.
Holy shit.
It's so much better now.
It's so much better because it's not those 3 casters.
I'm not saying it's good.
Resnick 1 is okay, especially with Specialists, because he can tool to exactly what he needs.
Vindictus?
Vindictus is good. People complain about Vindictus because they're so used to playing Harby and Trios.
And I'm curious about Amon, because I still feel like, through our talks, I feel like Amon has...
What's the 4th one?
A skew. If you want to play a skew, you're good. In
Feora.
this one?
Feora 1.
Feora 1. Probably not going to see play, but she's definitely better with ADR.
God,
she's still not good though. I think Resnick Vindictus is the obvious choice, unless you want to be a butterfly. Then
I just
don't think Amon can play.
I understand, and I know where it's coming from, especially with the options we have. But
with ADR, Vindictus and Resnick can win games, and that's not a question. Yes. The only question is, can they beat the A-list casters? I don't know that Resnick can, but I feel like Vindictus could possibly.
I think Resnick has a lot of game against most Warmachine.
That's fair.
Why most Warmachine and not most Hordes?
His feat's pretty fucking crippling.
It's pretty strong against Hordes whenever you decide to use it. I was actually thinking about that just the other night, about how you remove all Fury. I mean, if you're going
Fury too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's pretty crippling either way.
Yeah. Right.
They remove all focus and Fury is one thing.
If you end your turn within 12 inches of Resnick 1, you probably die. That's just how it.
Yeah, that's a start range.
And the other thing about Resnick also says, like, I actually think he has a really nice Hordes play, because Hordes uses spells a lot more than they use
Witch Hound
in general. Yeah. And Witch Hound actually happens a lot.
Yeah.
Like, Witch Hound is one of those spells that if you forget, like, when your opponent forgets, and they will, because it's Kylissa and him are the only ones who got it, I think.
Yeah, they are.
Then you're, like, when they do forget, it's not going to be if, it's when. You're going to be like, and now you lose.
And it's like every time Witch Hound triggers is a 30% you win the game next turn.
And I will say something that I've tried to make happen before, and I've made it happen in several smaller level games, just newer level games,
If you pair Resnick 1 with Fire Salvation, it's fucking hilarious.
You get everything to work.
It's
Your
like,
threat range is absurd.
Okay, so I got Righteous Vengeance, Perdition, Witch Hound.
The problem is you're relying almost solely on Dark Horse because it's all counterable if you understand
it's
the
extremely
list.
counterable.
Yeah. All right, so what's next?
Next is going to be Kador. They're going to have Karchev, which...
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Somebody fixed Kador.
No,
Karchev.
Butcher 1 with ADR is so good. But oh my god, those other casters were so bad.
They were so awful.
Yeah.
I stared at all of them so long. The best I came up with is this Strakov circle jerk list that just it made me want to die.
Strakov, I feet. Did I win?
I think here's the thing. This ADR is super strong because you play Old Witch because Old Witch does what all the other threes kind of don't do, and then so you have Old Witch as one of your lists. She loves ADR because. Again, she's one of those kind of casters where she herself kills all infantry, so you can put in your ADR just tons of stuff to make that just even go over the top or just straight up armor punch. And then you just play one of the other three because none of the things she likes really get stepped on by any of the others. I like Vlad 3 because I just love Vlad 3 on a horse, but that's the one I would choose. But all three of them
I
do
think
an
Vlad
equally
3
awesome
Old
job.
Witch has a really high potential getting played.
Yeah. Because also Vlad 3 is the thing about Karchev and Epic Butcher is what do they really do with ADR? I'm not sure. Vlad loves ADR because he can say you can run like a Doom Reaver package, and then your opponent says, "Oh, I have a gun." You're like, "Well, I'm just going to take all these Doom Reavers out and put in a Infernal Machine Conquest and deal."
Mm-hmm.
It's like I think. Once again, this faction is just solid. I mean, I rarely see them not have options.
Like we were talking about in the pre-ramble, they really just struggle against heavy control, which has just been played a lot. Like people naturally drift towards control at the higher ends of play because it gives you the most options. So that's really where they struggle. Like the Haley's, the
Old
Days.
Witch's feet affects everything.
Old Witch's feet is all enemy models.
All enemy.
You cannot charge or make special attacks, and cannot run. And
Run or
if
charge.
You end your movement in her control, you take POW 14. And it's not damage typed like Harvey's, it's just straight POW 14.
Yeah.
And if she can get you to flee, you just auto die.
Yeah. Unless you choose to run out of her control. But so there's a kind of a funny trick you can do. You run Doom Reavers at them and engage all their stuff, and anything that breaks just takes a POW 14 because they have to run, they can't forfeit movement, and they take a POW 14 or take a free strike from a Doom Reaver.
Yep.
It's pretty funny.
And Old Witch in general, like I used to play with her as an something in your back pocket as an alternate list to deal with control, and she does okay because she herself is not going to get killed very easily at all, and she can play a long range kind of attrition game pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Kador went up. We're awesome.
Kador's up. They lost their super ace where they only had to build one list to win one other game, but they still couldn't do that. But they're better now. When they're probably like a 3-2 drop now.
They're going to be way better when Zerkova 2 comes out.
Max, what about Crix?
Down.
Think so?
Yeah,
Yes.
they definitely dropped crits.
Lich
but
3 with specialists was so good.
Scabrous was
so
good
dumb.
with specialists.
See early podcast we did on
Yeah.
that.
Coven probably also good with specialists. The only one that wasn't very good with specialists, honestly, was
Gorshade
1, and he's still better than Venethrex.
I don't know what.
Actually, Venethrex, honestly, is probably better with specialists. He really probably is. He just suffers from being more boring than Scar 1 and Venethrex.
Yeah. I don't know what Terminus.
What would you do with Terminus?
Yeah, I don't know what Terminus
Terminus
does with
is
specialists.
the only other option, though.
I'm
Yeah,
not saying
but-
he's not a good caster. I just don't know that he. It's like Butcher 2. It's like, really, does Butcher 2 need specialists? Because he already knows what he's taking.
What do you
Either-
take with Terminus? You have a Weapon Master loadout, and you have a Mechanithrol loadout, and you play 2 Inflictors with them, or something like that. Jack, that's not out yet.
Yeah. And that's really where Karchev's at, too. It's like, he has no reason to play because his favorite Jack's not out yet.
Okay.
Just like Zerkova. Like,
But
Zerkova won.
They went down, though, because they lost all. Okay.
Losing, really, I think Gorshade 3 was
Now-
Lich 3 was the tilting point.
Has ADR been out long enough, realistically, for us to see how this affects the large-scale tournament scene?
Well,
Like,
there's almost 2 months of it left. Like, this came out 2/3 of the way through this
Came out too
rotation.
early.
Well, right, so all the lists are out. But I like that it's out now because you get the option to plan ahead. or you can keep doing what you're doing. I think
I
it's
think the
perfectly
beginning
fine.
of June
Well,
was
my-
when it should have came out.
My curiosity is when ADR first hit, when it first came out with the first round list, I blatantly disacknowledged it because I just didn't think I was going to be playing any of the higher level games at all. So my thought is, I have no idea whether or not we say this is this going to change things. Did the first round of ADR coming out, did that actually change? Did we see a lot of people changing the tournament scene or changing tournaments with ADR lists? I mean, is that something that we've seen be a
Not
big deal?
Well, to be fair, it's also a lull in the
Yeah,
tournament.
it was in the off season. Basically,
Yeah.
it starts. The first
Okay.
2 months was in the off season.
So this will be the
Only
first time
major
we really
event
see.
was TempleCon, and now we're getting to the actual season of it, and we've got 2 months left to where this is going to start picking up. I think you're going to see still a lot of ADR play.
Okay, so pretty much we got practice time with ADR. Now this is like, okay, well, let's see whether or not
Now,
you guys
now
understand
we're
what's
playing
going
for
on.
keeps.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next?
Next is going to be, Retribution.
Yeah.
All right. No one's going to play Retribution because it's bad faction. Moving on.
I
It's not
think,
bad. I don't know that it got
Sub-faction.
better. It's different.
yeah, I don't think it lost Ron, which is huge.
I
think.
don't know that that's that huge. I think Ron is really good,
Right. Ron's good.
but I don't
regardless.
know that he's actually better with specialists than what other people are.
Aussie and with specialists is kind of scary.
What about Virus 2?
Virus 2 isn't going to change much about his list. Like, basically,
No,
your
he
option
absolutely can.
Well, but you're
He
going to
can play pure jack and then add infantry.
Right.
It's not
Just
bad at all.
Swapping out your infantry, basically.
Yeah, you'll either play with like whatever your choice of unit is or two, and you'll pull all of those out for 20 more points of warjack.
Actually,
So,
my favorite. Go ahead.
sorry, I was just going to say, he's
And
not
there's
he's not a transformative sideboard, but he's going to tool exactly to what he wants to take.
And there's also
I
Kalissa,
think-
which is good too.
I think Kalissa with a sideboard is super strong because you can play the I'm going to feed back your Colossal list that just basically auto wins more or less against a Colossal. Or you're like, well, you don't have a Colossal, so I'm going to do this other thing. Just completely switch out because her with a bunch of Sentinels is also really stupid. So
I don't know. I think she's going to get, not to say you can't, but for the most part, if she's going to be in your list pair, it's going to be varying degrees of what can I change in Force Wall.
Yeah.
Her tier list.
She's probably always going to be in Force Wall. Is it a restrictive tier force, or is it pretty open?
It's
It always
pretty
looks open to me.
restricted. It's super restrictive on units.
Okay.
You can take battle mages.
Oh, that's an issue.
It's not that big of an issue. It still gives you a unit. But,
Right.
I thought she also could take mage hunters.
maybe. I don't know.
Whatever.
Okay. What are the other two casters? Would you
We've
play
already
them?
gone over 3. Gareth, you probably wouldn't play.
Right. I would agree
It's just
with that.
Max, we're gonna do this at some point. Like, do this for me, despite the fact that I'm gonna bitch and whine and fight about it and complain. You're gonna have to sit me down and explain to me how the hell Retribution is actually worth a shit.
Just keep playing Danny.
It's hard.
It's maybe the most all-encompassing complete infantry faction in the game.
also
Their infantry's pretty OP, and their casters make it slightly more OP.
And one of the things they do is they kind of like, oh, you have this cool defensive effect. Well, half of my list, like literally incidentally, my army will ignore the things you try to
They
do.
don't have. It's really only two units and a couple of solos that do it, but nobody else has even that much Arcane Assassin in the game. So it seems like a fuck ton.
It's like Mean Elf with Spell Ward. When it's good, it's amazing. But
Yeah.
when it's not good, you're fucking wasting points.
Yeah,
Exactly. So
I get it.
it's
I honestly,
It's the faction can seem a little weak, I think, in regular list building, but in ADR because their units are so specific in what they're really good against. Being able to swap 20 points in and be specifically 20 points better against what you're playing against is really, really, really good.
I think it's I think that the faction shines because every once in a while I'm playing in a game and I set down my army and he sits on his army and I'm staring at the board and I go, man, if I was playing Rhett right now, I would literally just win instantly because Rhett has those kind of buttons. Man, they have some buttons that are so strong.
yeah, I'm gonna have to see this work because
Alright.
well,
I'm
next
gonna vomit
faction.
if we talk about Red anymore.
I'm dying. Next is Convergence.
Skipping.
Yeah, Mom and Dad.
Convergence.
Next.
It got better.
Hold on. Let's just talk about, because I don't think people realize that how good Mother is with ADR. Because most people, what do they play as their specialists in ADR with Mother?
Boom.
They just put a bunch of other
Transmergent projectors.
Yeah. You can, because the tier doesn't require 2 Colossals, it just requires 1, you can drop 1 Colossal for 2 Battle Engines, and then still bring in probably a unit of Servitors.
The battle engine's stupidly legit.
Battle Engine is stupid good. So you can drop Mother into almost anything.
That battle engine is so strong. I don't know. I remember reading, the very first time I read that, I was like,
It's like,
no.
there's no way I read that right. Let me read again.
Yeah.
But the thing is I think once you see it on the table, it's actually better than what you were thinking about in the dojo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Much better.
It's amazing.
That's the scary part.
So good.
I think this is one of the things, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. The more I play, the more I realize that if your model says range spray, it basically says +4 rat, is what it says.
I would agree with that.
Like, it's so common that I ignore the melee bonus and the cover bonus with my sprays. It might as well say +4 rat.
I want to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to make a bold statement. I think it is the best Rat 4 model without a melee attack in the game.
Not true.
What's the best?
I'm just saying anything you say is not true.
Oh, okay. You're just blatantly disregarding anything I say. I think it's pretty strong.
I can tell you the best Mat 4 model without a range attack is
What's that?
Harbinger.
She's not Mat 4.
She is Mat 4.
She's Mat 3. Look it up, bro.
I don't want to.
Severius is Mat 4.
Holy
Severius
fuck,
is
I
Mat
hate
4.
this game.
High five.
I find it.
Okay, next faction.
Moving on.
Mercenaries.
Worse.
No, versus not works.
They are definitely worse.
They have Gordon.
Osram
They
is
lost
gone.
Osram.
Osram's
Oh,
gone.
Ostrom. That's right. They had Ostrom before.
They had
Never
the
mind.
most OP ADR caster.
Never mind.
Gordon's still good, don't get me wrong, and you might be able to do some funny things with McBain, or it is McBain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And Ashlyn or something like that, but it's not as good as...
My only problem with Merc ADR outside of just Merc ADR in general, when there's not like Thexus on the list, is everything they have is a fucking character. So if you build your ADR list, like McBain for instance, well, all he wants to do is feed on solos. So if you take all the different solos he wants to feed on, your other list is literally fucking awful.
Okay, so this is what you do for this discussion right now, whether or not it's better or
Play
worse.
dwarves.
You refer to our episode where we talked about the mercenary colossals, and that will explain to you whether or not this is better or worse, and we move on.
Yeah. I don't think you'll see many Merc players playing ADR now.
All right, trolls are
Which
still
is just
trolls.
obvious.
I'm
Next.
just saying. I'm going to have Magnus and probably Drake.
Yeah!
That's fine. You can play the McBain Pain Train?
Yeah.
Okay. Are trolls actually next?
Trolls are actually next.
Okay.
I think they stayed the same.
Jesus titty fucking Christ.
He'd be fucking them titties.
I think
Jesus titty fucking Christ. I've never heard that until Justin Parker. You've just made my world better. I want you to know that. Holy shit. I'm going to use that at work.
I like a 5 pound 6 ounce baby Jesus.
And I don't know whoever thought that elemental evolutionism. I know I say that wrong every time. That's fine. You know what I'm talking about.
Elementalism.
You know what I'm talking about. Whoever didn't think that the 20 points in that was no good and it might make her stop playing that tier was a fucking moron.
I just like to imagine this. Okay, so picture the normal list where there's 4 slags, 4 storms, and two pyres, 1 storm, or sorry, 1 winter, and then the standard Krillstone unit and Calandra. And then the sideboard is 5 storm trolls. You can go fuck yourself.
I don't
Probably
want
4 storms and like a slag or something like that.
No, because he's one.
Whoever at Privateer Press came up with the idea for how to sell light trolls, like light troll
That
willies.
son of a bitch has made them millions.
Dude, I'm saying that he's the guy that came up with the idea of $1.99.
He was like the janitor, and he came in, and the next day he's like pimp cane and walking with a top hat. He's like, look at me, bitches!
It's like Goodwill Hunting, basically.
I know.
Fucking seriously.
He feigns ignorance. In fact, he
Like
is.
that motherfucker
He's like
is...
Rain Man. He's like, you just give the minus 1
mind.
point, sell light trolls.
It's a beautiful mind. I think the funny thing is, as strong as Calandra is, the other 3 are equally strong. Actually, if there is a
P. Grim, P.
problem with
Matty.
troll,
Oh my god.
right? If there is a problem with
Holy
troll ADR,
fuck.
it's that what can't you do with it? Like, I don't know. Like, if somebody came up to you and you said, "What are you running today?" and you said troll ADR, they would have no fucking idea what you were doing.
Yeah. Like, we were dojoing for the Killing Girl earlier today, and we were like, we could have 2 troll players, both of them playing ADR, and you can't duplicate casters.
Oh,
and it would still be good.
Yep.
Holy shit! I honestly, trolls are working their way up like one of my least favorite factions. I went over there for like an hour last night. One of my least favorite factions where trolls are just.
You have nightmares about trolls.
I do. I played Oroth. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Especially now, it's like I'm gonna go and fuck it. I'll take fucking P Feora into anything troll right now.
I'm just going to point out that trolls won the last book. They won the first ADR, and they've now won the second ADR.
So if I were to play, I'm going to play 150 points up against a 5-point troll list with my Feora 1 list, and when I lose terribly,
That would be-
I'm going to feel completely justified. Like, you know what? Fuck it. What chance did I have?
That might be a 50-50.
It's like, holy shit. Madrick serves my whole army. It's like, well, not shocked. I mean, just like I knew that was going to happen.
I knew that was going to happen.
I called that. It was like
Completely
Chester, like
legit.
he wins in 19 moves.
It's like, are you kidding me? Like, who's going first? Me? I quit. It's like, that's just-
Can we just like I want to move around from trolls. It's like the Holocaust. It happened. Let's just keep going.
It's the Holocaust.
It's so awful. It happened. Moving on.
All right, next.
All
What's
right,
next?
Circle.
Circle. Is
Chicks and
Gladius
balls,
on there
dudes.
yet?
Chicks and ball dudes.
Chicks and ball dudes.
I think it got worse.
I'm confident.
Probably.
I'm confident
Yes, I think
Morvana's
it
a
did.
tranny.
I'm a big fan of Krios 1, and Morvana 1 in the right list drop.
I see it.
If you get a matchup where they have no way to remove an upkeep, Morvana 1
yeah,
can be
that's
tripling.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you can say the same thing for Kaya
You're gonna
2,
mute
which they
them out
also
again,
lost
so
for
you can just have the card
Right.
more.
So basically, you're replacing Kaya 2 with Morvana 1.
And I think Kaya 2's better in more matchups.
But Kruger 1 might be better than Cassius.
Are we?
But
confident
here's the thing: you guys are.
Shut up.
But we're talking about this in like terms of them being good outside of ADR, which I totally agree with you in all the points you just said. But I don't know what any of these casters necessarily want for ADR.
I mean, other than a pureblood in Kaya 2, did she care about ADR?
Not
Right.
really.
She's taking the same fucking list. She just would
Exactly.
like the option to bring in Wraithbane if she wants.
And that's one of the things I think is kind of interesting about this
It's
about
like
Circle.
Kruger 1 loves ADR. He
Yeah.
can mix the exact right amount of armor cracking and infantry clear.
Because he himself is he's
Right, he's
'Cause
the
he's
Kane
like-
1 of Circle.
he's the old witch. He just kills everything.
He
and
kills all the infantry unless you're like, hey, look, I brought Peace Guard. And he's like, guess what I brought? All anti-infantry.
A Storm Raven.
Yeah, Storm Raven.
Here
Storm
comes
Raven,
Zapdos.
Me. Zapdos.
Alright,
That's Zapdos.
moving on.
Boom.
Zapdos is Billy Bob Thornton.
All right, now Scorn, which I actually think I'm going to
Couldn't
go
have
ahead and
gotten
blatantly copy.
It got better.
Impossible to get worse. They literally had like the 4 worst casters.
Not even.
Come on, Naresh. Naresh is. Oh, God damn it.
Resh is
They were the K-Door of
I'll copy. I'm going to quote a not so great man when he said it's like Scorn and ADR is going to be great just because something like they have all the support models in the world. Now
You
you
have
get
a
to
lot
pick
of
which
support.
support you want. So Scorn's going to have ADR is kind of good for Scorn across the board. And as long as we have semi good casters, I think it's going to be okay.
It got better.
Yeah, definitely better.
I think it's a lot better. I think I like P. Makeda and Epic Xerxes
Yeah.
because both of them like different things depending upon who they're going
You
up
know,
against.
Tier 4
But-
chain gang might be pretty legit when you can customize your beast loadout.
Yeah.
That's also possible. That's because you like sometimes you love others. Yeah, that's true.
All right, so what's next?
Next is the Everblight Legion.
Everbite Legion.
Better. I don't even remember what it was. but I'm
Actually, they
pretty
had
sure.
a pretty good ADR
They have
before.
Callus.
They did have a pretty good ADR before.
I don't even remember who it was.
Callus.
Does
It
Callus
was
benefit
Bethane.
from ADR?
I don't care. I like him.
I do like Callus.
Oh no, Callus loves ADR.
See?
Really?
Because because if you've never seen like 3 or 4 Angelius Callus, oh my god, it's so strong. Just because
I guess
because the
you could
one
say
right like the one thing the Angelius needed was extra hit. So Callus just lets them go nuts, and then you're also able to run cheap infantry, and being able to switch that between the huge, high volume smaller attacks versus high volume larger attacks.
Mhm.
I think Callus really likes ADR.
Okay.
Is this
lot.
kind of like what James has been doing lately? I mean, with like the Veil with the
Different casters, similar concept.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
saying would he could just plug and play Callus instead? Would that be awesome?
No.
No,
You don't think so?
No.
Veil's better.
Okay.
And
But with ADR, it's a
That's what
question.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a question with ADR.
The thing I don't know about is I don't know if the other three want ADR necessarily. Maybe Lilith does. I don't know.
Thagrush.
Brian Marino did just win a big Canada event with Lilith 3.
Yeah, no, Lilith 3 is fine.
He won
there's
5 games with Lilith 3 in a major tournament.
There's nothing wrong with Lilith 3 at all.
He owns that model?
It was a 6-round event. He played Lilith 3 5 times.
Because there's not a whole lot of magical guns that can shoot through her, and
Yep.
and having transfers is good.
Wind wall plus tenacity plus transfers. It's a lot of
And escort.
and escort.
And they added Zuriel to the game, which made
And
her
Zuriel.
And Zuriel's doing all. She is doing all the things she wants very efficiently now. The problem with her before is how could she actually expect to do all? Yeah, how could you actually expect to do all the things she was supposed to do when she only had 5 Fury and upkeeping stuff and casting spells all the time? But now you can just Zuriel pop, and then now I kill all the things in front of me.
And Windwall is completely within 3 inches, right?
Yes.
I mean, that big base, she can totally protect all her entire beast lit out from shooting.
Okay,
So
so first of all, she has 3 auto fire attacks with a range 12, POW 12, and her spell list, she has Frost Hammer, which is a spray 8. Getting additional die to hit with all of that is extremely efficient.
And red die is
you,
sweet.
You cut up to me for a second. Did you also say melee and trample and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, because she's cavalry, she can do
Right.
she can make attacks with her scything blades, which are POW 12s, rat 6. Weapons platform, she gets to make melee and range in the same activation, and she can shoot out of engagement.
Yep.
And she
Are
can
we
make
getting away from
tramples.
ADR here?
And she can trample. So like she can.
We're
she
just talking
can
about
do.
level 3.
I know.
She's on ADR.
She's on ADR.
What was her feat?
Her feat is, I believe, every model hit by
Death chills everything
Yeah.
that gets hit.
Enemy models directly hit by a range attack made by a friendly faction model.
In her control, so it only affects things in her control. It kind of requires you to have a volume of attacks, but, it doesn't really matter because you don't actually need to have... Actually, you really don't. Because I really only care about death-chilling heavy things.
Mm-hmm. Like, you just throw in a unit of Striders and they just poke all your heavies and they have to forfeit mover action.
It's
like, what's that stupid
pretty
spell? Stranglehold. It's like strangleholding everything you care about on her feat turn.
It's like you
pretty
have
annoying.
you pick the good models that Haley 2's feat affects, and then you don't get to pick in which order they activate.
Yeah, it's like 1/4 as good as Haley 2's feat, so it's good.
well, and the thing about it is because Lilith herself with Zuriel, like between Zuriel's double spray and Lilith herself, like you're killing everything small, and then her feet just locks down anything not small, and then you stare at them. You get 2 turns to kill their big stuff, and that's just 2 models in your list. 2 models in your list, and you do everything you want more or less. I think she's perfectly fine. Without Zuriel, she really struggled to do her thing.
So we're saying
with
because
Zuriel,
ADR came out, she takes Zuriel, and then you can load out whatever you want to customize to your opponent's army, so she actually benefits a lot from ADR is what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Good. Yeah. I just wanted to wrap it around so we were not just blowing this caster and we were actually wrapping
No, I mean, we
ADR.
just talk about the caster. So she's a 14-16 base.
Oh, God, I hate you.
Escort to a 14-18, Tenacity to a 15-19, and Windwall.
How many hit points?
18. It's pretty good. That's probably the most survivable Legion caster, except for maybe
All right,
Abby 2.
moving on.
And
Now,
we're done.
talking about her speed.
Minions.
Okay.
Okay,
Like I
Winions.
said, we're done.
Winions all day.
Winions.
Minions worse. Right? It was Rask on the last one?
No.
No.
All right.
They haven't
Just
put
the
Rask
same,
on
because
this.
Rask
Yeah.
is not on there.
It's just...
The end.
Carver's actually good, and with special effects, really, actually probably pretty strong. Sturmdrake's still fucking bad.
Jaga Jaga. Super awesome, so you can take 3 Instigators or 3 Instigators.
That's true.
Brandon, have
Mainly
you
you
lost
take-
his charm and drug?
I have never beaten pigs. I am 0-3 lifetime versus pigs as playing Kador and trolls.
Pigs OP.
They're OP.
Alright. Is there anything else we're doing?
Okay, has anybody thought of anything groundbreaking for ADR?
No.
I'm going to play casters. I'm going to switch out models.
Okay, so you're not going to give away anything that you've been thinking about? Nothing you're saying, hey, I think this would be a great fucking idea.
Beyond the obvious?
I really still... I mean, before
Give me
you
one
can...
thing.
I think Retribution's very interesting. I want to play them. So, I'm going to. But I don't think you can go too far in on ADR this time until we know what all the casters do, because they're all going to be on fucking ADR.
That's true.
Yep. I 100%. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like you
Okay,
can't.
so preemptively do not...
So first week of June, when the book is pre-released is when everybody will really go nuts on ADR because everybody will have 5 casters on ADR.
Yeah. So stay tuned for the next podcast. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so
ADR.
ADR, I don't know, Mother, Father's a good pair.
Okay.
What else do you want me to say?
Well, I was just curious if anybody had any thoughts they may think would be unique. Like, hey, I've been mastercrafting this.
2 taps instead of 2 axioms.
Ooh. 2 taps, 1 axiom. You have 3 huge bases blocked by
not call it the tap. That's a horrible thing.
The TEP.
All
the
right.
boot. Can we call it the boot?
God.
Parker.
The little robot that lives in a boot. A boot. What's in a boot?
What you talking about?
I'm going to move up this big servitor.
This is the big servitor. It's
like,
going to poop out some smaller servitors.
It's like these servitors are going to go do servitor things. I'm going to two-handed throw this servitor at that servitor.
All right. I think we're probably good with ADR now.
All right.
Now, what else can we talk about?
Let's talk about Jeremy.
Let's talk about Jeremy.
All right.
Hi, Jeremy. How's it going?
Just fine.
Okay.
Is Richard still here?
I am, but my connection, I think, it's got to be mine. It's real bad. You guys are fading in and out, so I don't want to like jump in and be like blah 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 blah.
Sorry about that, Richard.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Well,
All
if you
right.
want to say something now, I can insert it in later.
Well, I do. Me and Parker had chatted about this months, maybe years ago, about deployment, and I totally just lost my train of thought. I've been holding on to this for like 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to talk about it, and then just. Poof. So, anyways, yeah.
Well, I'll throw this out there that if anybody has any questions, like I have not seen a ton of questions come through on our Facebook page, like flooded with that shit, and we'll go over and we'll answer your questions on.
Yeah, if you listen to this and you want to talk to us about something we said on the podcast, just message Spence directly. He'll be more than happy to answer.
Yeah, go for it. I actually will. No, I will.
I know you will.
I sit at work at my desk all day long, and everything pops up. I'm like, oh, so and so. I mean, it's like I really wouldn't mind.
I call you 12 times a day and you don't answer, but you have time to answer those fucking Facebook messages.
But you always want to say stupid shit. Like, I mean, are you coming over? Hey, what are you doing? It's
Did you get a haircut yet?
I didn't. No, seriously.
What are you wearing tonight?
I would love to hear feedback from listeners. I would love to hear feedback from listeners. I mean, it's awesome.
Max is internet famous. Everyone's like, hey, who's Max?
No, Max is my favorite person, like, ever. Like, he's almost up there with Taylor Swift.
Almost up there with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, he's
but he's still your favorite person of all time.
He's after glitter. Taylor Swift's a woman. She's not a person.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh, shit. Edit that out.
Jeremy, I need you to cut that out. It's really
First, I need to learn how to do that.
We're live streaming. You can't do that.
What's live streaming? Yeah, just throw messages out there. If you guys have questions, or if you have topics that you'd like to actually hear something about, or if you think our topics are stupid,
if you want to hear about a topic, please request a topic.
Yeah, just anything out there. If you want either more or less Parker, and
we've gotten actually many messages about that.
Really? I love Parker.
That's the one thing.
Tell me it's like the greatest thing ever.
I mean, we're basically recording for our own selves at this point because of Parker.
Yes. Well, sometimes when I go to sleep at night, I just play this.
Like, there's like things that drive people away, and then there's Parker. And it's like
I still want to go back. I want to watch Parker play a game against himself. Like, I want to see that happen.
Have you ever seen somebody death clock themselves twice?
Holy fuck!
I don't know why you guys are so
he uses the death clock as a term.
Parker, the last game you and I played until last night, I was 45 minutes up on you. I was 45 minutes up. What the hell?
I do not take more than a death clock. Not once.
Not once.
Never.
I've never.
Because Spence gets so mad he charges Haley with fucking eye reclaimer. He's like, I'm gonna spell you death, and then fucking
It was worse
loses.
than I reclaimer. It was Tom.
Yeah, that's right. Testament. Just like, I'm gonna charge Haley one.
I know. I've told you this a million times, Parker. Like, if you were a dick, you're somebody I didn't like flat out, you'd be like my least favorite person in the world because that one thing. But like the fact that you're amazing makes that one thing just hilarious. So it's like, I was telling you last night, like Brandon and I had a conversation about tilting, and like we were talking about like, you know, whenever the clock gets down or whatever you're in a situation like against the High Reclaimer and Haley, no, the Testament and Haley game. I was so frustrated. I was like, God, this is horrifying, and I was like wanting to throw things, but then the last time I played, I was like, oh, a million years later. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm good. Happy.
So when we talked about the Haley 1 game, immediately after that episode happened, we had the episode where we talked about getting upset in games and tilting and having it affect your ability to play the game. It was Saturday, wasn't it? Or was it Sunday? We had a tournament that weekend where Spence ended up playing Parker again, like a week after he played him the first time. And it was like night and day difference in how he actually played the game.
I will say, however, the game before when I played Ryan, and dude,
the game before you played Parker was so bad.
Ryan, I tilted hard. Like, I went home and threw a model, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. Alright, well, we're probably ready to sign out now.
3 hours.
Yeah, but an hour and a half of that was waiting for you to get here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God.
It's only an hour and a half, because we're going to probably just cut that off.
That's not even true. That's probably there's lots of good Max moments.
Max wasn't here until like 10 minutes where you got
You're
here.
lying.
He went to Microsoft.
Max is always with us, and when there was only one set of footprints,
because he's our brother and he lives in our heart.
Tell him, Max. Tell him you carried us. He's Age of Egos on DACA.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
I'm over it.
It's my favorite thing.
You've literally killed Age of Egos. You liked it so much you died.
Good. Next week, Taylor Swift.
Alright. This has been Brandon.
Me.
Parker.
You.
Did somebody just sign me out?
Yeah, you're supposed to just go with it. Thanks for ruining. Now we have to sign again. This has been Brandon. Max doesn't give a shit.
Me.
Not Parker.
Jeremy.
Bill.
Oh, wait, I remember.
Spence.
Hey, can we start over? Because I remember what I wanted to talk about.
Oh, we have a new topic. All right. New topic time. All right. Go ahead. Please make it as in-depth as possible. And just go into very big detail about it.
Right.
Wolverine. Best X-Man? Best X-Man.
That's my two options.
Go hard, go deep, go.
How deep, how hard?
The hardest.
Yes, and
Holy
all.
fuck.
For real.
For real.
I'm saying like Grand Canyon deep. That's what
My birthday is in 1 hour.
Congratulations, you're gonna be old.
I'm pretty fucking old.
You're like 3/4 of a century old now.
I'm as old as anything has ever been.
Richard, do you actually have a topic you'd like to discuss?
No, not at all.
Okay. I didn't want to talk over you. You actually did.
The 13th, yeah, exactly.
I do have a perfect song, or a perfect title for the Mountain King episode.
So what's that?
You'll have to wait until we do it.
Pile of shit.
Did you take down the 9 foot tall invisible white warcaster episode? Like, did you change the name to something like Girl's Eyes or some shit like that? I was looking for it and like, what the fuck is this?
For some reason, iTunes was only showing the 5 most recent, so we've changed it to do all now. Where it should be there.
I don't use iTunes.
Jeremy, by the way, I don't know if anybody else has told you this, because I love the Warcaster thing that you made up, where you can select
where
the
you
Warcaster.
can search our video. Oh, yeah. For everyone that watches our YouTube channel, on our website, either now or soon, you can go through and search by individual Warcasters you want to see games of.
Or podcasts about, right?
Or podcasts.
Yeah.
I love our battle reports. Like, our videos, those are amazing.
Yeah. By the way, can you search by the players of the game on YouTube?
You should be able to type in their names.
Yeah, because it's in the description.
Well, it's in the description, but I don't know if it searches by description. Okay, then we're good then. Okay. I was going to say, if not, we need to add it to the tags, but I think we're fine. But yeah.
I'm not going to start tagging that.
Well, I say I could go through and retag all of them, but if we needed to, but I think we're fine. So.
Oh, no, on
YouTube specifically.
Yeah, as long as you search in just our channel, you'll find it.
Cool. All right, well.
Of course, now I'm just doing first name, last initial.
Yeah.
I like that.
That way the cheaters can remain anonymous.
Is Max drinking with his tongue?
His dog is.
Oh.
All right. This has been Brandon.
We're not doing another sign out.
I want to sign out 3 times.
I'm signing out 3 times.
Parker.
Spence.
He's turning down.
So, Richard, in the Star Wars X-Wing miniatures game, which I'm really, really loving, I'm really enjoying a lot. There's a character in the game who flies a TIE Interceptor, and his name is, get this, Turfner. That's his actual name. And every time, and he's actually a really popular guy. He's really strong. And every time I see him, I go Turfner, and so I really want, I want to commission you to get. I want another Gershberms shirt. And I want her to be holding Turfner, and I want it to be Ermiger Turfner. That's, I think,
Okay.
I think it's going to be just awesome. I'll go ahead and say this: the only geek shirt I own, and I own like 10 or 12 at this point. The only geek shirt I want to wear when I have an opportunity is Ermiger Kurder. I love that shirt. It doesn't matter that it was Team Ermiger. That's an amazing fucking shirt. So every
It did really, like, I had a moment there.
yeah,
And I mean, that one, it's like, oh my god,
I can't believe. I mean, I remember I suggested Team Ermiger, and you were like, "We could do the Gershbums girl." I'm like, "What?" And you're like, then you came back with that. Just like, that's amazing.
When I had the guy make it, he was like, what is this? I was like, and he's probably like 25, and I go, are you not aware of the internet? And he was like, and he goes, I don't know what you mean. I goes, yeah, I get on the internet. I'm like, you've never heard of the Gershberms girl? and he was like, no. And I go, do you get on Reddit? And he goes, yeah, not that much. My older brother gets on that. And I was like, how old's your brother? He's like, 35. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Put me in that lump of, it's only a bunch of fat neck-bearded 30-year-olds that get on Reddit.
Yeah, everyone's on 4chan nowadays.
I don't get on it.
4chan
You don't get
and
on
Jaka. That's what
Yeah, 4chan. Wow.
What is
You
it?
can't get me off of that.
Yeah.
I don't want 4chan. Isn't that's just all like anime porn?
There's other stuff.
Okay,
I don't know what it is.
it's just a bunch of robot tentacle dick shitting nipple porn. Just the most foul things. 4chan.
Yeah,
I could,
and some of it's animated.
Jesus.
I always gave Ryan crap because he was always on 4chan. I'm like, why are you on 4chan, you fucking perverted fuckhead?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. What is Daka
He
Daka?
said he used to laugh at pedophile 13-year-old jokes until his daughter turned 12, and then it became way less funny.
I
like his. I was up at the store when Jake was running it. We spent all night on this one fucking message board, and it was all like this incest animation. This guy like dubbed over. It was really bad, but amazing.
There's not much on 4chan that I think I was cruising it for about a month, and I was like, I have found not a single good thing on this place.
It's just
No, it's nothing good.
It's literally nothing but forum trolls and porn. That's all of 4chan.
I used to go there all the time to find wallpapers. I used to love just perusing the wallpaper forum. But that's the only thing I've ever done there. Because I don't dare touch any of the others with the 10-foot pole.
I just imagine the FBI going, all right.
Oh, there are men who do not sleep. All they do is stare at 4chan, waiting for somebody to fuck up.
They have them in shifts. 2 entire floors of the National Security, the NSA, are just dedicated to 4chan. 35,000 federal employees.
And those people earn their money.
They earn their money?
Yeah. The only government employees that do.
No, I don't think we need more NSA. Okay.
I like your brother's best diet ever.
My brother?
No, Jeremy's brother Jameson. The best guaranteed weight loss diet ever is become the website architect for a fecal porn site.
Is that what he's doing?
That's what he did at one time.
Yes, we have made money that way.
He's like, yeah, I didn't eat for 4 days.
You know, it's great when he calls me up and he's like, I need you to write me a batch file. So I don't want to look at this stuff.
And you're like, why? And immediately, no.
Use a generic image.
Man, it's a shame that game sucks because it's so cool looking.
Which one?
40K?
Yep.
Called it.
I'm looking at some of since you guys said cruising 4chan, I'm on 4chan looking at wallpapers because I haven't done it in a long time, and there's just a bunch of awesome 40K wallpapers on here that just look so good.
It has very nice art, very nice miniatures.
And then just
shitty rules.
Ugh.
If you want to call those rules.
The game is just no fun.
I think
to
they're
play.
just suggestions.
I actually have heard that there's a lot of like local game places coming, like just using their own rules for that game, just like making up rules and playing.
We are waiting for some stuff. I'll probably just put this shit together while I'm waiting for you.
Alright, so let me know if this is a good Crix drop. Are you ready?
Terrible.
It's
You drop against Crix or with
against Crix.
Okay.
It's Convergence, Mother Directrix, Tier 4 Carrier Group, 1 Prime Axiom, 1 Corollary, 2 of the Battle Engines, 4 units of Elimination Servitors, which are the auto point on hit guys with guns.
Mm-hmm.
They also have Gunfighter, 1 group of Attunement Servitors, and 1 group of Reflex Servitors, and then Mechanics.
Only 1 group of reflex, you said?
Yeah, I mean, because it's supposed to be an all-comers, really. And
Right.
basically, because, I mean, they still kill a guy if they hit. Like, it's auto damage. So
She's the one with backlash.
yes, she has backlash, so if they actually have a jack that gets close, you backlash it. Also, she has harm, so all of her low-power attacks become really threatening. And she has Shrapnel Swarm, which is a 3-cost range 8, and she has arc nodes. And it's, after you hit a model, you center a 4-inch AoE on that model, and after resolving damage rolls normally, every model hit takes a point of damage. So it's a guaranteed damage as well.
Plus her gun's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, her gun... Oh, I totally forgot she had a gun. Range 11, AoE 4, POW 15.
Yeah.
And she has Fire Group, so it's range 13. She also has Harm, so it's POW 17.
Yeah, her gun is super.
I totally forgot she even had a gun when I played her.
And she even has Thresher. Like, she has Thresher, too.
Yeah, she
like,
has Reach, Thresher, POW 11.
Yeah. Roll does work.
So basically, the elimination servitors are there in case I need to like shoot down Bane Knights or just anything. Because if they like run a Kraken, they're like, look at my Kraken, I'm like, all right, well, I harm your Kraken, I backlash your Kraken, I flare your Kraken, and then I shoot you with 12, 15, 16 auto points of damage, and your caster takes 16.
Yeah.
I don't like that it has, like, 0 control effects, but it has ranged and enough guns. Like, that's kind of anything.
Yeah.
I actually like Syntherian against Crix because of Magnetic Hold, but
If you play it right, it's good. Really, it's about your list.
Lucant does not do well against Crix because they can purify off your debuffs, but that's about it. And I think Crix has enough attacks. And if Crix plays who do you think? Maybe actually, Axis might do recursion better than Crix does. So maybe
He does. It's just I don't know. They usually also have a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
Parker, are you free for games tomorrow?
Free for a game? No.
Bring the child.
It's not the child. I've got stuff all weekend long.
Start teaching her early.
Mother's Day and
Oh, I forgot about that. How is Ryan coming down?
Sunday.
Oh, Mother's Day on Sunday.
Ryan's coming down tomorrow.
Yeah,
Where to?
tabletop.
That sounds like fun and a half. What time?
We're gonna get there pretty early, probably about 10:30 or so, and then afterwards it's Spence's birthday, so I don't know what he wants to do.
Drinking and whoring.
Probably that.
Not in that order.
In that order.
No, definitely in that order.
Simultaneously.
There are worse ways to go out.
So, is it not proper defense to when you get arrested for soliciting prostitution and your response is, I'm an adult, I can do what I want? Is that not?
No, the proper defense is I didn't pay her.
No, I didn't pay her. I didn't plan on paying her.
I don't pay for shit. Tell me, has anyone in the here seen
Thank
Deuce
you,
Bigelow?
officer. I was
Mel
about to
Bigelow?
have to pull my gun.
Yeah.
Did you say steak?
Can you help me better in my
No, got me all excited.
You know who that character is?
Who the character is?
That's
Big black.
that's the guy from Green Mile and Daredevil.
No, it's not.
It's-
Michael Clark Duncan.
yeah, that's totally him.
Michael Clark
Yes, boss man. What is you? I felt the pain, and I just. Did you say steak?
Yes, suppose.
Can you not hear?
I can hear it.
Okay.
I
Quiet.
Oh my
That's
God!
fine.
Yes.
Just to hear it. Hello.
Michael Clark Duncan. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Michael Clark Duncan.
No, it's not. It's a radio DJ from. It's Big Boy's neighborhood out in L.A. And he was just a big dude. And
I'm pretty sure it's Michael Clark Duncan.
Okay, all right.
Nobody else hears.
There's only one big black guy, and that's Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, you're right.
In
Yep.
fact,
Not Terry
large
Crews.
black man. Terry Crews is different.
That made it better.
He's only a slightly large man.
Nobody else is here.
What do you mean?
It's just me and you and Jeremy.
Nobody else is ever going to hear this.
How about not this?
They'll turn it off long before this
It's
plays.
just Spence who masturbates to this part.
That's true. Dan told me that he listens to the podcast today.
Who?
Dan Sammons from Omaha.
By accident.
But does he listen to the pre-ramble?
That's actually the most important part of the podcast.
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
I'm gonna tell you.
And we're back.
Why, hello there.
Hi.
It was my mom's birthday today.
Is it sexting or not sexting?
It was not my mom's birthday today.
Nor mine.
All right, Jane. Quit being excited. Go chew on your bone.
Holy shit, there are things going on! Tell him, Jane. Tell him there are things going on.
Jeremy!
It's my favorite Jeremy right there. Out of all the Jeremys that are within 35 feet of me currently, he's my favorite.
Oh.
So, which caster needs Ossian more? Or, Silas?
He's
more?
Ossian. Silas? Ron.
Ron.
He's not
Oh
in the
my God.
pairing.
Ron.
I know it's Ron, because Chainblast is retarded with it, and other things, but...
What's Ossian spells?
What are Durst spells?
Shut up. No one cares. Nope, you don't even care. You just think you do.
Alright, you just screwed up my sound. I got none.
It's alright.
Hello?
Parker, did you see that video I sent you?
There, I can hear things again.
Why can't I get...
I think Ossian can get away with that at the most.
Alright, Patch ADR now.
We haven't started the podcast.
Ossian...
Oh.
I can't hear anymore. I guess. Ossian has Shatterstorm, Quicken, and Admonition. Also, you could upkeep Chronomancer, but I don't know why the fuck you would.
Parker, are you dying?
Even cast it.
Hey, I hear things. Oh. Hey, it's Richard!
Why? Why do you know that exists on the internet? Oh my god.
He showed him a video and they're both dying.
Because it's a joke.
I think it's like
It's
The Ring.
Funny.
Like they're both now
Oh,
dying.
who's the other one? I hear Richard. Who's else?
Parker.
Parker!
Here's why it's funny, Parker.
Why?
Oh man, I should let the other guy. You guys want to
Black
see
people.
this before I?
Hey, Spence. Whoa. That's
But
topical.
here's what's funny. He
Because literally all he does
and then he
for...
falls down. So what's even funny is that he's a black guy and he's.
I guess you can lock the target,
beginning.
but literally all he does for
Is that
Vyros 2 is upkeep synergy for free. Which, don't get me wrong, it's probably worth 2 points because it's an extra focus.
I'm gonna be honest though, I played the Motherless with 2 Prime Axioms. It was pretty fun.
There were so many servers.
However, rolling the back-to-back 18s on damage was pretty sweet against an Angel, I'm just saying.
How many servers were there?
Not that many, because I forgot to spawn servers 2 turns in a row.
When I walked by and saw the table, there were so many fucking servers there. I was like, Jason must have been so mad. He must have been so mad. I had this look of I hate the world on his face.
I did not realize until after I started playing the game, I only had enough servers for what I deployed and the initial spawning of 3. And after that, he literally had to kill them or I couldn't spawn them again. But it didn't matter because I forgot to spawn them anyway.
That's so bad.
I thought I had way more servers than that. They go fast in that list.
The number of people I've seen be very unhappy while playing you when your conversions is fucking hilarious.
Really?
No,
Jake got real mad. I thought Jake
Everything
was going to
that-
just walk away from the table.
Everything that makes
But Jake
Jake
cheated?
mad makes me happy.
Yeah.
What happened to Jake?
I told him I was going to play Lucan, and he's like, all right, I'll play Siege. I was like, okay. And he didn't kill anything. At all. I killed all this stuff. He got mad. The TEP killed 6 arcane shielded defensive line tough hammer dwarfs.
It's so bad.
And did 13 damage to his Centurion. And it missed its second attack.
Oh, that game against. Oh, that was brutal, dude. Like, why are you doing this?
Okay, so, question.
Answers.
Thank you, Max.
Were you asking?
I believe we're
were you
waiting.
said
Mac actually answered. Why is Richard not responding to me?
He may have died. We don't know.
he's probably dead.
Who, Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah, Richard's gonna probably just end up just
What?
falling off.
Why? What'd you do to
We
him?
haven't. Have we started?
He's tired.
He's tuckered out.
Richard, just go down the street, pick up some meth.
Costs money.
Are we? When are we gonna start?
Right
Like pretty much
now.
right now.
I'm gonna get orange juice. I'm gonna be right back.
Okay, so I've always wanted to start a musical. I'm gonna have like 2 main parts to it. Give me Dealers of the Universe. Okay. But you let me do this.
It's
Okay.
just my face.
That's not how your face looks.
That's how it looks.
That's your "why are you talking" face. I can tell the difference now. You're still doing it. Shut up. Okay.
I didn't say anything.
In one main act of it, there's going to be a whole scene where everybody on stage and like everybody in the musical is, I want to rock! But it's about crackheads. That's what nobody gets. Okay? It's going to be amazing. And then Master of the Universe. I want to rock! Be Meth Gordon. It's like, Meth!
Tweaker of the universe.
See, tell me you don't want to see this now.
But instead of it being like dun dun dun, it'd be the sound of like
Yeah,
a
you
lighter.
don't need Silas at all.
Actually,
Yes. In fact, I don't think you want him.
the new Mortal Kombat actually has me continuously when I walk through work, like, talking to myself, humming to myself, instead of like humming a song or like bitching about a customer or something, now I walk around and I go all the time. So it's like I can't hear anything, I just blank everything out, and I picture that I am the monster from a horror movie.
What do you
all day long?
All right, we're back.
Do you need Eris 2 with Ossian?
Yes.
It's pretty helpful, because you need to make sure defense is lower, because he doesn't do that.
Eris 2 and Ossian?
Mm-hmm.
What's your other list?
Virus 2.
He's not taking Eris then, right?
He can't then.
That's right, because he's playing tier. Yeah, so...
No, he's not playing tier, but that doesn't matter. He can't take it if it's in the other list.
Hey, one of you guys, probably Brandon, needs to host the call. Because my internet is crappy. And I would hate for my internet to basically be like,
okay.
Slow time.
I'm hanging up. I'm hanging up.
What was that hang up sound? I like the hang up sound.
Skype.
I love Skype.
That's a third thing you love in the world.
I already proved him wrong. We found a third one. Netflix. Yeah, I can't believe it's actually...
Where are boobs on the list?
Depends who's boobs.
Taylor Swift's.
We already went over that. I actually thought that was the real sound until I looked over and saw Max. I was like, wait a second. He fools me.
I have a lot of
every
background noise now. Did you turn on a sandblaster in the background?
I don't hear any background noise.
I do.
I'm telling you, it's the greatest thing ever.
Have you ever just tried stabbing people at work? You should try that.
Holy shit. You know, if they can get a job as a serial killer or some kind
you know
of
what I'm
weird like,
missing
movie
in this
monster...
I'm missing
Stage
things.
hunters.
No, I got those. But they could be in the side, too.
Oh, Brent, did you see the shirt?
I didn't have Lady Iona.
I noticed that as soon as you opened the door.
It's like, it's the greatest thing ever. I got it to match the hat. Then I realized it doesn't match my hat.
I've been cleaning convergence models.
All of them.
That's just cuts on my thumb.
I wouldn't mind if I could put a Solus
Nice.
Escort
Yep.
on the Halberdier. Q.
Are we going to decide beforehand who gets to be Age of Egos?
I think Max has dibs on that unless he changes his mind.
Max, are you still Age of Egos?
I don't really care.
See? Max doesn't care.
What is the
What
joke
did Spencer just say?
No one has ever said that. No human being has ever said that.
So, explaining the joke, Ryan is Age of Egos on DACA. And he came on the podcast once, and ever since, Max has been Age of Egos on DACA. So,
He just keeps introducing himself as
Yeah.
I'm Max, I'm Age of Egos.
pay attention, Rick. Come on.
Except for the last one, where I said I'm not actually Age of Egos.